When we talk about true love, people often think of fictional stories, but true love often emerges from real lives where people choose sacrifice over comfort. Today, we're diving into one of the most beautiful real-life love stories, Unwithering Flames, Book 5 of Shaheed Janbuzurgi. Let's dive into it. He used to apply tea rose or damask rose perfumes on a daily basis. His clothes were fragrant all the time. He said he was going to bring me a book, a biography. He wanted his future wife to be like the lady in the book. Thus, it was agreed that if I read the book and liked it, then they would come for further talk. The weather was still warm. When he handed me Fahima's letters, I caught a glimpse of him for a moment. Beads of perspiration were visible on his forehead. Fahima's letters was a collection of letters written by Fahima and her husband during the war. Fahima was a Quran teacher. Her husband was a soldier. Their marital life was confined to these few letters. Saeid and his friends had found Fahima's grave, coincidentally, in Behesht Zahra cemetery. They found her martyred husband's testament in the glass box above the grave and published it in the Jomhuri-e-Islami newspaper. A few days later, Fahima's family called the newspaper office. Saeid asked about Fahima, and they handed the letters of Fahima and her husband to Saeid. I read the book. It was agreed to inform me of the next meeting via the school's phone. We talked with each other 3 times. Each of those times he came by himself. Our expectations matched one another. We would start from these commonalities and our conversations would become prolonged. And each time my uncle's laughter from behind the door would bring our talks to an end. No, the talks are not going to finish. Saeid and my uncle were in the same battalion, and Saeid worked in the battalion's publicity department. He was a photographer, painter, and a caricaturist. My uncle said the comrades at the battalion showed him a lot of suitors for marriage. He was well-mannered and educated. Moreover, he would perform his prayers and fasts on time. He had gone to a number of matchmaking meetings upon the recommendation of his friends, but none of them appealed to him. The last time he had seen a VCR player in a girl's house, and according to him, he had run away. My uncle realized that he was looking for a God-fearing, religious, and politically aware girl. He had spoken to him about me. He had said that my brother's daughter might be a good match. Saeid was the baby of the family. All his siblings were married, and they no longer prompted him to get married. When they realized that he didn't care, they left the issue to him. He was reticent before his friends and his family. He never informed others when he was wounded. During the war, his mother had seen him in her dream that his legs were lifted off the ground and he was soaring towards the sky. She had reached for his hands and saw that his face was injured. The next morning, they called every hospital until they finally found him. His father had told the nurse that he was one of Saeid's friends. If he had said otherwise, Saeid wouldn't have come to the phone. Shrapnel had hit his ears and impaired his hearing. However, during those times, his camera was constantly in use. Saeid couldn't tolerate staying in the hospital. As soon as he regained consciousness, he would plead with the doctor to sign his discharge forms. Once he brought me his photo album of Halabja. He told the story of each photo in detail. It was horrible. For a long time, the thought of Halabja did not leave me. The things I saw in those photos, Saeid had seen with his own eyes. He had also suffered from the chemical weapons there. On a Friday in the fall, when the weather had gotten a bit colder, Saeid's sister came to our home. Saeid's and my ideas had become so similar, it felt as though we were compatible for one another. He had sent his sister to see if anything was left unsaid. When she called my name, Maryam, I said to myself, how careless of me. I think he is one of those men who says something today, but he forgets it the next day. He had told his sister, she is your namesake. All his family members visited to decide on the mahr and agree upon the time for when the marriage solemnization was to be recited. Only his father was bedridden in the hospital and thus wasn't able to attend. It was agreed that the mahr should be 14 golden coins and the date for the recitation of the marriage solemnization to be determined by the office of Ayatollah Khamenei. They had also brought an engagement ring with them, but Saeid and I bought the wedding ring together. It had 12 gemstones. I said, as a sign of the 12 Imams. He laughed and purchased it. He didn't like wedding rings. He didn't allow us to buy him a ring, a watch, or even a shaving machine. He only accepted a small wallet. This goes beyond narration. It's a lesson in love, faith, and life. If you're looking for a book that touches your heart and gives a profound perspective on human values, then Unwithering Flames Book 5 is the perfect choice for you. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comment section down below. Subscribe to our channel for more amazing videos. Until next time, goodbye.